from me. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Minister. I just want to start with the small issues of clarity. I think we must, all of us agree that immediately means now. It doesn't mean any other thing, except that it means now. So, as a minister who's got a driver, because you're giving examples of cars, and they're driving, you're at the back, then you say to them, hey, Chief, stop the car immediately. They must stop it next week. In the context, in whatever context, must stop next week. Because when you say stop the car immediately, stops now. So immediately only means that, doesn't mean any other thing in whatever context. If you say, well, stop the car immediately, and there is no yellow lane or anywhere where they can park, they will be looking at finding a way to stop this car immediately, because the principal said we must stop the car immediately. That should have been the understanding of the letter of the 31st. When you wrote it, you were expecting that must stop now. Can we all agree that that is the understanding? Not that in the context it meant this and that and that. Yes. Chair. Through you.
Yes, Honorable Minister, you may respond.
The difficulty with that streamlined meaning is that it leaves out what is in the context concretely. The directive doesn't end there. It doesn't say stop now or disband now. It talks about a preliminary report, which I don't believe, I respect your view, but I don't believe we should remove the preliminary report. I don't believe we should remove the UNESCO meeting where same was going to be discussed as per one directive, because it didn't come in any other day. It came on the same day in the same directive. So, yes, I can't say immediate doesn't mean now, but in the context in which it was said, it has a context which gives it that kind of meaning within context.
So when you say they must stop immediately, and then what was the thought about what's going to happen to the Dockets?
Yes, it was to say, go and prepare, in other words, a preliminary report of this directive, because it has to be implemented by them. And once we've looked at the preliminary report, there will be a UNESCO meeting. So that was the thought when I wrote the directive. At the same time as I wrote the directive, it was connected in that particular fashion.
And when the Dockets finds themselves in CBS position, out of CBS instruction, what do you do about it?
That would be the subject of discussion of the preliminary report, because the preliminary report is an operational implementation matter with all the implications of the directive. They would then say, this directive means this is what we must do or not do with Dockets, this is what we must do or not do with staff. This is what we must do or not do with cases that are on, and all the related matters. They would then include them in the preliminary report, which would give us a way forward.
Yeah, but when you hear out of the directive, the Dockets are with Sevilla. The instruction is given, all processes and all of that. The next thing, the Dockets have been removed, including Dockets that were ready to go to court, and then are taken to Sevilla's office. When that is brought to your attention, what did you do about it?
When I heard about that, well, we were going to, either we were going to or we were from the meeting, but I know that it was the subject of the meeting of the 6th, what would happen with Dockets. Actually, in that meeting, National Commissioner did verbally say to motivate the staggered wind down of National Political Killing Stars team. In the motivation, he said he wouldn't want to see Dockets disappearing in the process, and I agreed with him. And he said it's based on experience, and I agreed with him. The only concern I raised was that, well, December 2025, if there is a way of quickening the process, I also said, but even December 25, if there would still be matters in court, maybe we should couch it in a different way, so that it doesn't say until the last matter is no longer in court. So we were debating and thinking about that matter. So that's what happened.
What have you done when you hear 121, you are a minister, 121 dockets, some of them ripe for court, have been taken from the investigating people, and they are now in the hands of General Sibia or in his office. You hear that. That should be terrifying. And what did you do about it? I hear all of that. What did you do about it in the immediate as a responsible executive for that department? And this is happening out of your directive. Everybody, whatever confusion is there. But the reality is that 121 cases have been taken. Families have not been briefed why their cases have been taken away. Some of those cases are ready for court. It doesn't matter. Let everything come to Pretoria under General Sibia. That comes to attention if you didn't know that that was going to happen. But we all now know there are 121 dockets in Pretoria. As a minister who's very good at giving directives, what directive did you give on this one?
Now, the matter was actually being handled at that time by the National Commissioner, and I took the line that says that they are resolving the matter because there was no standoff. For instance, I asked General Senzo Mchunu, did you, when these dockets were handed over, was it at gunpoint? And she said, no, it was not at gunpoint. We knew what we were doing, and I took the line that says they are handling the matter. They should be able to resolve it maybe even now as I'm talking, or tomorrow, or something like that. I trusted that the matter was being handled by senior people, two divisional commissioners, and then the national commissioner, and also the deputy national commissioner.
So I take it the answer is the minister did not do anything, even when this information became a public information, because you were under the impression that the national commissioner and whoever responsible were attending to the matters because they were more of operational matters.
There wasn't any other way. If you believed and trusted that they are handling it, you wouldn't call a meeting. You wouldn't give a directive because they were already handling the matter. And my trust was based on the belief that they were handling it and handling it properly. That's why I asked that question at some point.
So on the 31st of December, everybody is in a jovial mood. You are at home. You are not even in any place. You are home, where everybody is happy. It's New Year's Eve. And you are troubled by the crime that is happening. You're trying to think what needs to happen and all of that. And then you come to a conclusion that the crime intelligence post must be stopped. The advert of those posts must be stopped immediately and all of that. How does that help resolve your problem of crime? Because you are troubled by crime. How does stopping posts help you to fight this thing of crime?
No, posts were not going to be, they were going to be discussed at the first meeting as per directive with the National Commissioner. So he said stop until we discuss the matter, which would be in January. And this was the 31st. Now, it is indeed, as you say, everybody else was busy with New Year Eve
Festivities.
and so on. But I had not reached the end of processing what I had started and even discussed with deputy ministers. And I wanted, when the year begins, when we go back, we go there full of purpose in terms of specific issues that I had identified. Remember, I had called a meeting, National Commissioner, Deputy Commissioners, and Provincial Commissioner to say, I'm troubled, I'm being troubled, and I was honest. I was being troubled by these matters and so on, and everybody else in the country was troubled. So I was still processing up and down and so on. Why not discuss on the 28th? I was processing, I had not circled. And then I circle at home in a rural area. And then my mind focuses on one thing. We had been all over. I was deployed in Cape Town and in the Eastern Cape myself on Christmas days and all of those things. And I circled for the first time. Then this thing comes together. I start piecing things faster than I had done all the time. And the answer was, write a directive so that when the year begins, you are all in part focused on these matters because they're troubling a lot of people. And I'm honest that these matters, in my observation, were troubling a lot of people and the country as a whole.
But, Minister, there was nothing that was going to happen in between the 31st and the official return. I know the police don't close and all of that, but the business of our country at that time, meaning everybody's withdrawn. And there was nothing urgent that will force you on the 31st of December to say, this, I have to issue this letter now. Why not wait because now it looks very suspicious. It's like a tender that is being awarded on the 28th of December. You're like, why? Everybody's on holiday. Even the mindset is now different. And you now drag us into this serious business on the 31st of December. It doesn't make any business sense, really.
That would add... that would add on my side that what did immediate mean? I knew that there would be nobody who will, as a matter of today, call a meeting and convey the message and so on. But I wanted all of us to have it so that at the beginning of the year, we are able to say there was a directive written on the 31st. And remember, there's nothing untoward about a minister writing a directive on the 31st. It could have been a different directive altogether from this one. It could have said at the beginning of the year, employ people or facilitate or whatever. It could have been any directive within the law. Now, it was this directive, and all I wanted was, let's focus early in the year on these matters, and I was quite troubled by them, as I am right now.
Now, Minister, there are alleged SMSs, WhatsApp exchange between Mokgotsi and Ngabinde about you. There's an allegation that Matlala bought a table at the ANC dinner, your table. I'll still come to that because the explanation you gave on the table, I don't accept that. All of these negative things about Matlala, who is arrested to have killed people, who has implicated minister on this or that, and you still, of all people, go and ask an affidavit from Matlala, who's in maximum prison. And in answering that question, actually, I just want to quote so I don't make a mistake. I think there was a bit of dishonesty there because you're saying the first answer is until I came in. You never, because you now realize on hindsight it was wrong for you to go and get an affidavit from a character like that, and you say, my legal team took their own initiative to obtain the affidavit. You said the initial, that was your original response. And when I intervened, you then say, no, it was my wish, and agreed to instructing them. So you give two answers on one question, that the lawyers acted on their own, which is unethical, and I point to that if they did that, they will be reported to LPC. There is no lawyer that can listen to you and out of feeling pity, without you giving them instruction, go to maximum prison to get an affidavit from a dangerous man. Then you say, no, I gave them instructions. Despite what is happening in this country about this man, despite what brings us here, because at the center of it is that Matala takes decisions about this or that. If he's been told that PKTT is being disbanded and all of that, you still want to have something to do with such a person. Whereas on an official legal documents, which are going to go before Madlanga, before Parliament, and perhaps ultimately in court, why would you want to associate with such a character? Worse, if you say you don't know him. Because I was, for instance, associated with Matala. My wife's surname is Matala. And it was immediately assumed that I know Matala. I've never issued a statement. I've never written anything. I don't care what they think. I don't know the chap. But you, because you are lawyers, it's you. You pass all these big fences of maximum prison looking for an affidavit from an unethical man who's in prison. How do you justify that, Minister?
Now, let me read this. It will add another dimension. I may have used all those words, but what is actually written down is a straight answer to you. It says, Dear Mr. July is my lawyer. It says, I confirm that I act on behalf of Mr. and Mrs. Matlala, my clients, who have directed that I send this email to you. I understand that you represent the police commissioner, Mr. Senzo Mchunu, at the Madlanga Commission. Well, I'm sure I meant police minister. My instructions are to present to you an affidavit deposed by Ms. Matlala. In essence, Ms. Matlala denies any dubious dealings with minister and wishes for what he terms General Mkhwanazi's false allegations to be investigated. For that purpose, the following documents are attached to this email. Then I attach those emails. Now, this suggests that even the lawyers never went to maximum prison. There was discussion between the two lawyers. After I had said, we are leaving no stone unturned where there is my name and concerns. Now remember, in the background, on a daily basis, if not on an hourly basis, people write false things about me and my name, and link me to people I'm not linked with or to in anything. And you have to, there won't be any thing coming from heaven that would actually clarify the matter. So anything that is legal, anything that is proper in terms of documentation and all of that between the lawyers, and they found that possible, that it could be, not that they traveled, not that there's anything illegal. Because people on a daily basis, as I say, they write dotted lines, which I don't understand what they mean, because nobody out there has any confirmation of anything between me and Matlala. Absolutely nothing. And I can go anywhere and say people must remain behind and investigate anything linked, but they still do it. on national television without a piece of evidence. Now, I don't want to spare any moment making sure or making efforts that I have no link with Matlala. That's why I even got my diary to the lawyers to say, here is my diary, in case you believe that you are merely defending me on something that I otherwise know, and then you are going to come with legal strategies. Now, you must know, this is my diary. I was not in Cape Town. I was elsewhere. And I never requested anyone to coordinate anything.
We have a
whatsoever.
limited time. Chair, and I want you and the honorable members to note this. We are being given the third answer on the same question. The first answer was, my lawyers went without an instruction. Then upon being made aware that they've committed something unethical, then the minister says, no, I actually gave them an instruction. Then I point this two contradictory statements to the minister. The minister gives a third answer on the same question. No, actually, my lawyers didn't go. I didn't give them instruction. It's Matlala who writes to my lawyers uninvited, dear Mr. So-and-so, I represent, which means, which answer stands here? Because it's either the lawyers went without the minister's permission, or the minister gave them the instruction, or Matlala wrote the letter uninvited by anyone. So, Minister, please clarify this three, because as things are, it's becoming worse now. Because you gave me three answers. The lawyers went without me. Then I said, no, they can't do that. It's unethical. Oh, I gave them instruction. It was my wish. Okay, you now gave them instruction. You still want to have access to people who are behind big fences and walls at maximum prison. No. It's not that. Actually, Matlala and the wife, now the wife comes now, for the first time since we canvassed this question. Matlala and the wife's lawyer wrote and said they represent them, and we must get their affidavit because we are going to Madlanga's commission. Which one do we take home here? Because it's not me. You know, Minister, the worry is you shouldn't think you are speaking to me. These matters, as you stand there addressing us, you are clarifying the country which is troubled by these things. That ministers have got access to dangerous criminals to an extent that they can even have access to them even when they are behind bars. Matlala was found with a phone in a maximum prison. Matlala produces a minister's affidavit from a maximum prison. According to minister's evidence that it's not me, he wrote to me. Because of that, then we use the affidavit. What is the answer, Chair?
The answer is, I did say in the discussion, in the course of discussion over time with lawyers, I did express a need or a wish that I distance myself or be away from Matlala. Remember, I had issued a statement on the 9th of July saying I've never spoken to Matlala, I've never received or asked for anything from him. So I made this statement. Now, we discuss with the lawyers. You are open. You are relating your wishes that relate to the case. Now, once I expressed that, now that wish, you call it an